The rain started just after midnight, sharp, relentless, and unforgiving, like the kind of storm that carried more than thunder in its clouds. Daniel Harper had just finished washing the last plate from dinner, the house quiet except for the ticking kitchen clock and the distant hum of his daughter Lily's night light down the hall. Being a single father wasn't the life he had imagined at 34, but it was the life he had learned to carry with steady hands. Since his wife passed away 3 years ago, the house had grown quieter, the laughter softer, and Daniel's heart more guarded. He lived for routine, morning pancakes, school drop-offs, bedtime stories, because routine felt safe. Predictable. Contained. That's why when the knock came, sharp and urgent against the door, it felt like the storm had suddenly stepped inside his chest. No one visited at this hour. No one knocked like that unless something was wrong. His first instinct was caution. He glanced toward Lily's room, making sure the hallway light was still dim and undisturbed. The knock came again, weaker this time, followed by the faintest sound, almost like someone trying not to cry. Daniel approached the door slowly, every protective instinct alive. He checked the security camera on his phone, but the rain distorted the image. All he could make out was a silhouette, small, trembling, alone. He unlocked the door but kept the chain latched, opening it just enough to see her. She looked barely in her 20s, soaked to the bone, her dark blue dress clinging to her shoulders, hair plastered against her pale face. Her arms were wrapped tightly around herself, as if she were trying to hold in the cold and whatever fear chased her here. "Please," she whispered, voice cracking beneath the thunder. "I just need somewhere safe for the night." Daniel hesitated. Every warning he had ever heard about strangers echoed in his mind. He had a child to protect. A life carefully rebuilt. He couldn't afford chaos. But then she looked up, and in her eyes he didn't see danger, he saw desperation. The kind that doesn't ask for pity, only survival. He closed the door gently, heart pounding, and for a brief second leaned his forehead against it. This was the moment. The line between safe and unknown. Then he removed the chain and opened the door fully. "Come in," he said firmly, stepping aside. The warmth of the house swallowed her shivering frame as she crossed the threshold. He handed her a towel without a word and pointed toward the bathroom. "There are clean clothes on the counter." "My sister's. She left them here last week." She nodded, unable to speak, and disappeared down the hall. Daniel locked the door behind her and stood still, listening to the rain slam against the windows. What had he just invited inside? When she returned, wrapped in dry clothes and looking less like a ghost of the storm, she introduced herself as Ava. She didn't offer details, and he didn't press. Instead, he made tea. They sat across from each other at the kitchen table, steam rising between them like cautious trust. Slowly, piece by piece, her story unfolded. She wasn't running from the weather, she was running from people. Powerful people. Her father had exposed corruption inside a corporation tied to illegal dealings, and after his sudden accident, she had become a liability. She had evidence, documents, recordings, hidden in her bag. She had been followed. Watched. Threatened. Tonight, someone had broken into her apartment. She ran with nothing but the clothes on her back and the bag clutched to her chest. Daniel felt the weight of her words settle heavily in the room. This wasn't just about shelter anymore. This was about protection. About stepping into a storm far bigger than the one outside. "Why my house?" he finally asked. Ava looked down at her hands. "Because your house was the only one with the porch light still on." The simplicity of her answer hit him harder than the danger. He had left that light on for Lily, in case she ever woke up scared of the dark. He never imagined it would guide someone else to safety. In that moment, Daniel realized something. Sometimes being a father isn't just about protecting your own child. Sometimes it's about showing your child what courage looks like. He made a decision then, one that would change everything. "You can stay tonight," he said. "And tomorrow, we figure this out." What he didn't know was that by opening his door for one night, he had just placed himself between innocence and corruption, between fear and justice. By morning, black SUVs would be parked down the street. By morning, his quiet life would no longer be quiet. But in that kitchen, under soft light and fragile hope, a lonely single dad chose bravery over comfort. And sometimes, that single choice is enough to rewrite destiny. If this story moved you, If you believe kindness can still change lives and courage still matters in a world of storms, make sure you subscribe to the channel and join our growing family. Because the next knock on the door might just lead to another unforgettable story.